And enlightenment is the greatest form of pleasure there is the greatest power there is, isn't there? So observe how the mind works. Hi everyone, my name is Amit and I'm an author and a self awareness teacher. And today I'm going to talk about enlightenment and how to have it, of course. Okay, so let's get into it. Firstly, what is enlightenment? Okay, the fact that you are here and you're watching this video should tell you something, that there is not one definition of this term out there. This overused term, which gets thrown about quite easily, especially in the East, has no specific meaning which you can find in the dictionary and say, okay, that is it, and I have found it. Okay, which is where the confusion mostly comes from. In order to understand this question, which is a serious intellectual question, at least, something to be discussed, something to be carefully examined, if you observe, where do the existing definitions come from? Okay, the first thing you will hear, which, if you are a scientific minded person, if you are a critical thinker, you will immediately discard, which is chakras. Okay, this is coming from some ancient texts from the eastern side of the planet. And the people who talk about these say that there's seven chakras or eight chakras or whatever, and one of them chakras open before the others, and then the rest of them follow. And when all of them are open, you are enlightened. Okay, that's the first definition. What to make of it? Put it aside for a second. What is the second thing which we hear most often? One of the things which we hear is this exotic experience which one has after ingesting or coming in contact with a psychedelic, whether it's mushrooms or it's MDMA or this or that drug or whatever, the toad or marijuana, all kinds of things people talk about, ayahuasca retreats, and you do these psychedelics, and then you have some kind of an experience, exotic experience, where you see colors, you see your consciousness melting with the supreme consciousness and beautiful colors in nature and whatnot. So that's another thing. Fine. What is yet another thing which you come across? In those people who make detailed arguments, who want to make you more aware of your own thoughts, there is another argument which is the death of the ego. Okay, which is my ego is now dead, and most of the big famous teachers out there talk about this. And now that my ego is dead, my there is no personal self, I find, and because I have no personal self, that must mean that I am my end. I'm enlightened. There is an end of self within me, so I am merged with the supreme self. Okay, and therefore I'm enlightened. If you observe all these three experiences, okay, and don't condemn them or justify them, just observe them for a second, all of them. And you may come across some other experiences too, some other examples. But what is common in all three of these experiences? What is common? The common thread in all these three experiences is the fact that they are an experience, isn't it? That they are a certain state of mind which is superior above the normal state of being. And if it is superior above the normal state of being, that means it is worth pursuing, worth having. Because once I have that, watch this, once I have that, then my life has no problems. Once I'm enlightened, I'm free. I can do whatever the hell I want and it will work out. Right? This is how most of us understand it. Watch it. Every single thing that anybody ever explains about enlightenment comes in the form of an exotic experience, which is why you should be watchful about these things. Why? Because the instant somebody describes an experience, our mind starts chasing that experience. What does it mean to chase an experience? For example, I am sitting in my house and getting bored, and I want to entertain myself. Okay. And so I perhaps want to watch a movie to entertain myself. What is that? Chasing an experience. Why do I want to watch a movie? Because it makes me feel good, which is pleasure. Some of us will say, no, I want to go and get some food from a restaurant, which is another experience. Pleasure through eating something. Make sense? So I want to chase the experience that entertains me, which means anytime I'm chasing an experience, I'm chasing some sort of pleasure. And enlightenment is the greatest form of pleasure there is the greatest power there is, isn't there? So observe how the mind works. The instant somebody describes this phenomenon of enlightenment through chakras or through colors or extraordinary wisdom or whatever that happens through reading scriptures and this and that or endless practice of meditation. I meditated for 5,000 hours and now I'm enlightened. Or I've done yoga for 10,000 hours and then now I'm enlightened. All of that. Watch of it. Watch what that means, what that suggests. It suggests that there is an experience out there which is worth pursuing because this experience will solve all the problems in your life. This experience is a supreme pleasure. So I'm actually seeking pleasure in these different descriptions. Am I not? And pick all the people who talk about these experiences. The person who says my ego is dead. The person who says I experienced something after taking psychedelics. The person who says my chakras are all fully opened and my energy is flowing all over the place. Find these people and ask them, is enlightenment chasing pleasures? For example, I want sexual pleasure. Okay. I watch something on the internet, or I want food pleasure, or I want other physical pleasures. Is chasing of pleasures enlightenment? Ask these people, and these very people will tell you no. They will instantly say, no, 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 that is so disgusting. But then they will say, oh, no, no, but this experience you can chase. See? So chasing, they forget that chasing of any experience is chasing of pleasure. And why do we chase pleasure? We're not done yet. Why do we chase pleasure? Okay? This is the fundamental thing which we have to understand. If we have to inquire into the nature of our mind and just observe without concluding anything, I'm observing my own mind and I see I am chasing pleasures. Why am I chasing pleasures? Pause the video for a second and answer this question. See what comes up. I'll give you a few seconds to answer. I am chasing pleasures because I'm escaping from my problems, am I not? So simple it is. I have all these issues in my life. My family life is not working out. I have issues with my girlfriend or my boyfriend or my wife or my husband. My children are not talking to me. Or I have issues at work. Somebody comes at me and yells at me all day long, bullies me at work, and so on. Or I don't know what I want to do with my life at all. And I'm just stuck in this endless, dull, drab routine. Like Sisyphus, the myth of Sisyphus. I'm pushing this boulder up the mountain only to find the boulder rolling down again. And I do it again and again. And I'm stuck in this meaningless strife that my life is. Don't run from it. Watch. Don't escape. And as I've come face to face with this meaninglessness, with this burdensome living, with this extraordinary boredom, I want something to entertain me. But I don't want silly, stupid pleasures for entertainment because that I have a certain image about myself. I don't want to be a person who runs after sex. I don't want to be a person who runs after food or pleasure or money or power. I'm none of those things because I'm spiritually awakened. And therefore, I'm going to run after this sole pleasure there is, which is enlightenment. So I'm going to join a monastery. I'm going to join some group and learn meditation from them, learn this from them. Because at the end of it, after 20 years, because my teacher says so, I'm going to be enlightened. because my teacher is enlightened. So, pursuing an experience to escape from the daily burden of our everyday problems. Watch it. Which is, I'm a pleasure seeker. Even in my pursuit of enlightenment, I'm still a pleasure seeker. I seek different pleasures, but I'm still seeking pleasure. I'm a fear avoider. Because to face the problems in my life, to understand that I have no idea how to understand my life partner, for instance. I don't know why I keep getting into relationships and none of them work out. I have no idea what to do in my life which may be meaningful. Look at these problems. These are grave problems. When we don't know how to inquire into them and find the answer to these problems, we escape into the idea of enlightenment. So, enlightenment is inviting in us a form of cowardice, right? We want to chase an idea because we have become incapable of examining and facing our problems. How about solving the problems? How about taking each problem and inquiring into its nature? We say, oh, there's too many. I've been hurt by this person, I've been hurt by that person. You want me to go into each and every one of my hurts? There are 100 of them, of course. Ask yourself why you hate somebody. Ask yourself why you're angry at someone. Ask yourself why you become aggressive in your life. Ask yourself why you want to put somebody down. Ask yourself why you become insecure, jealous. Ask yourself why you're afraid to speak what's on your mind. Ask yourself why you want to constantly seek validation, approval from others. Ask yourself why you're so attached to the people in your life. Ask yourself how those expectations that come from those attachments create suffering in your life. Ask all these questions. These are the questions which need to be solved. And assume for a second that you are able to inquire carefully, step by step, and solve each and every one of your problems. Just assume. You are anyway going off on an assumption that at some point after this meditation practice, this reading these books or that, you are going to be enlightened. Or you're already walking on this path, isn't it? Which is why you're here watching this video. So instead of believing that there is a certain pleasurable experience at the end of your journey, why not just believe that you can solve all of your problems and examine each one of your problems patiently, carefully. And let's believe that you are able to solve all of them after having insight after insight after insight into the 1,000 problems that you have, perhaps. What happens? What's left at the end of it? Do you have a problem at the end of it all? Just follow along. This is very simple, straightforward logic. Do you have a problem at the end of solving all your problems? Of course not. And if there are no problems left to solve, what are you going to escape from? Why would you need entertainment? Why would you even have the question? So now I ask you this question of what is enlightenment and how to have it for yourself. Does that question still exist for you? Because if that question still exists, then it points to the fact that there are problems in my life which I need to solve. And my responsibility if I am a rational, careful thinking person, is to solve my problems, not run from them. Because at the end of that journey, you may realize that this question itself ceases to exist. Thank you all for watching. If you have any other questions which you want me to get into, leave a comment below and we'll explore them together. Thanks for watching.